Tonight at 6, the Kent State Fire Department began their spring training to ensure safety for the coming season. The safety concerns and what they trained for ahead.
Norfolk Southern CEO is under pressure from senators after the East Palestine derailment. What senators have to say.
World Poetry Day was yesterday, and the Wick Poetry Center made sure to capitalize by reading works from all over the world. We have the details.
The Federal Reserve announced their next steps to battle inflation. The decision they took and more as your Wednesday edition of TV2 News starts right now.
This is TV2 News.
Good Wednesday evening, Portage County. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Chris Abreu.
And I'm Nuried Hurtado.
The Kent State Fire Department is hosting a spring training session about safety concerns for the upcoming months.
TV2's Noah Rowe was there to get a better understanding of their concerns. What can you tell us, Noah?
That's right, guys. The Kent Fire Department were out training this afternoon, and I had the opportunity to speak with Captain David Moore about the department's training and what students should keep in mind as we move into spring. As spring weather has finally come to Kent, the Kent Fire Department continued their daily training just off of campus.
We're training our shift today. We try to do training every day. We're never stop learning.
The Kent Fire Department spent the afternoon practicing with aerial ladders as well as ground ladders on a vacant home.
Ground ladders are probably in the fire service the most used piece of equipment to save lives. It's the simplest, the quickest. Somebody's at a window or at a porch, it's easy to throw a ground ladder and rescue them.
As spring begins and students finish the last few weeks of the semester, the fire department has some advice for students.
So it's just important to surround yourself with good people, let people know where you're going to be.
And with spring break just around the corner and the sun setting later, the bars are busier than ever. The fire department warns about the dangers of public intoxication.
We do see an increase in calls, especially for intoxicated people throughout the night when people are out partying more. So it's just good to understand your limit. Be with friends that you trust that will take care of you.
Kayak season is nearly here, but the department reminds people it's still important to keep your health and safety in mind while on the river.
The river is still cold, so any water is still very cold, so you can get hypothermia very quickly and easily. Anybody that's around the water or on the water, we really recommend to be dressed properly. Going down the river on kayaks is 100% fun to do and able to do, but you have to be dressed right, trained right, and have the right equipment.
The fire department has one message for students as the semester comes to an end.
You're our university. We believe that we are one big community.
The Kent Fire Department wants to stress the importance of being safe and making smart choices to young people in the community as the year comes to an end. For TV2 News, I'm Noah Rowe.
Thanks, Noah. Moving into news across Ohio, Governor Mike DeWine testified before Congress today regarding the East Palestine train derailment.
Norfolk Southern CEO Alan Shaw was also put on the stand. Our reporter Jacob Brooks can give us a rundown on the hearing.
Hi guys, so this hearing about improving railway safety was held before the U.S. Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation. Several people testified, including Norfolk Southern CEO, a resident of East Palestine, and Governor DeWine.
Some residents have told me about their bloody noses, their rashes, their coughs that they have developed, while others who don't have symptoms now ask, what's going to happen to me in 10 or 15 years? What's going to happen to my children?
Now, Governor DeWine was testifying remotely from the East Palestine High School library. He said that people told him they want their community back. Norfolk Southern CEO apologized for the derailment's impact and said they're working with local officials to cover things like long-term health care, property valuations, and water monitoring. Today, we also heard from U.S. Senator Maria Cantwell.
I wanted to emphasize, maybe for you or the governor, or any of our colleagues, this issue of making sure that there is proper equipment in the community. Everybody is in agreement that we have to come up with something that gives proper equipment to the community.
Misty Allison, a resident of East Palestine, testified too. At one point, she said, quote, "My 7-year-old has asked me if he is going to die from living in his own home. What do I tell him?" Now, before the hearing, Governor DeWine and Lieutenant Governor John Husted sent a letter to Norfolk Southern CEO Alan Shaw. The letter calls on Shaw to work with legislatures to, quote, "ensure the best possible policy outcomes." And this is not the first testimony from Shaw this week. A few days ago, he testified in front of a different committee in Pennsylvania. Now, during that hearing, he said the company will be there for the long haul. I'm Jacob Brooks, TV2 News.
Good evening, Portage County. I'm Aaron Houck, and let's take a look at the weather outside this evening. Currently in Kent, it is 52 degrees, feels like 49. Our dew point is at 38, winds north at 12 miles per hour. Humidity is at 59% and visibility is at 10 miles. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the temperatures for this evening and moving into tomorrow. For tonight, we're going to be at 49 degrees, so the temperature is going to drop just a little bit. Winds will be shifting to the southwest, bringing us 10 to 15 miles per hour, along with some overnight rain, which will continue into tomorrow and into the late afternoon. And thankfully, our sunset tonight has been pushed back to 7:39 p.m. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the forecast for tomorrow. For tomorrow, 52 degrees right around in the morning when we're all going to be waking up at 6 a.m. And like I said, that rain will be persisting all throughout tomorrow. Our high tomorrow is going to be 58 degrees and changing down to 48, sorry about that, at 6 p.m. in the evening. Rain will be persisting, but coming up, we will take a look at the temperatures across the rest of the state along with your 7-day forecast.
2022, COVID-19, the effects of COVID-19 began to wear off. People learned to adjust, medical treatment was available, and there was a return to a new normalcy.
Ravenna Mayor Frank Seaman delivered a State of the City address for the first time since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. He delivered the address Monday following the City Council's Committee of the Whole meeting. During the speech, he mentioned economic growth in 2022 and the brand new LG Chem factory that is coming to the city in the fall. He also laid out his plans to continue creating jobs in Ravenna.
What I can't forgive or accept is apathy and ignorance. I don't know and I don't care don't work. And I've never been one to rely on this idea.
And Akron's Mayor Dan Horrigan also delivered the final State of the City address. The two-term mayor spoke little about what he hopes to accomplish during his final year leading the city. He also mentioned some accomplishments such as residential tax abatement program and an income tax increase that have anchored his annual city speeches since 2019. The mayor also released a new city logo and plans for a downtown parade to celebrate state basketball championships.
The Wick Poetry Center held their own reading event yesterday. More on the diverse nature of the event ahead.
Despite Congress working to decide the future of TikTok, some universities already made a decision. What college banned the app from its campus?
Tomorrow's news leaders.
Today's top stories.
From an award-winning student newsroom.
This is TV2 News, truly Portage County.
Yesterday was World Poetry Day, and Kent State's Wick Poetry Center took the opportunity to celebrate. Our Nuried Hurtado is here to tell us how. Hi, Nuried.
Hi, Chris. That's right. The Wick Poetry Center invited students and staff from all over the world to share different poems in their own language. The Wick Poetry Center hosted its 6th annual World Poetry Reading event last night.
I really decided to create something that gets together all the folks on campus who are international and share a night where we can celebrate our languages and cultures.
The featured readers took the stage with each poem having a different meaning, allowing participants to meet each other and have open discussions.
It's a time where we go all together, so it's also a time where we meet a lot of people, so now we kind of know each other, but at first it was also a good opportunity to meet people and to share more about our culture, and it's kind of nice because we represent home, but with other people.
Poetry is universal. I think the importance of tonight is that we read in different languages, but they all have something in common. It's the human feelings.
More than 15 countries were represented during this event, with students and professors reading poems in their own native language.
It means a lot to me because I love poetry. I write poems too. I won a competition, poetry competition, when I was in middle school, and my interest started at that time?
Like, I did it with my friends, and we had this night last week where we like kind of rehearsed everything, so it was nice, like not that much stress, it was okay.
Students and faculty read poems in 10 different languages and offered the translation to English, showing their culture and heritage.
Quanto trabajo ella pasa,
se apagam e os ventos da aurora vagam.
It's just something magical. I feel like it's magical when you can hear me speaking in English. I have a little bit of an accent, but if I started speaking in Hungarian, you might see a different person because it comes from the heart.
According to the Week Poetry Center, this event was one of the biggest word poetry readings they had in a long time, and are excited for what else is to come.
I can't express how much it means to me and to the Week Poetry Center to showcase poetry that really is a universal language that comes from everywhere, all around the world. Poetry is one of the oldest forms of art and expression, really.
Even though the Word Poetry Reading is the only event with international students and staff, the Week Poetry Center has many other reading events for the rest of the semester. Reporting for TV2 News, I'm Nuried Hurtado.
Thanks, Nuried. Cleveland's annual International Film Festival returned for its 47th season for an in-person event at Playhouse Square. The event will run in person from today to April 1st and virtually from April 2nd to the 9th. More than 300 feature films will be a part of the festival, including Kent State University's Eileen Joven. She directed the feature film Define, which will be shown at 7:25 p.m. on March 28th. Tornado season has kicked off, and Ohio held a statewide tornado drill earlier today in preparation. There were no sheltering requirements since the drill was meant to test the state's communication and warning systems.
Kent State announced the campus's participation in the drill yesterday. In the email announcement, the university gave advice in the case of a tornado, such as moving to underground shelter or windowless rooms.
Now, this morning when I walked out of my house, yes, it was a little gloomy, but it was pretty warm.
It was pretty nice. I really enjoyed it. I didn't have to wear my huge coat, so I'm really excited about that.
No, for sure. We're getting into those spring temperatures, but let's see what Aaron can tell us if they're going to keep coming. Hi, Aaron.
Hi, that's right, guys. It has looked pretty gloomy today statewide. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of our temperatures here in Northeast Ohio. So in Kent, we are at 52 degrees, 51 in Canton, 53 in Youngstown, and 54 in Ashton-Beulah. 52 up in the water on Cleveland and Sandusky. Mansfield is at 48 degrees and Worcester is at 49. Now let's go ahead and expand and look at some of the temperatures across the rest of our state and what they're experiencing. We are 49 in Lima and 52 in Dayton, along with Athens, Steubenville, and Akron. It seems like 52 is a lucky number this evening. And then 54 down in Cincinnati. And then going ahead and taking a look at the forecast for the next 7 days, we're really going to get an understanding as to the kind of weather that's going to be rolling into our area. Tomorrow we have a chance for some thunderstorms rolling in, bringing us a high of 65 and a low of 43. Friday, that rain will be persisting with a high of 47 and a low of 43. Now, moving into the weekend, we have some morning thunderstorms rolling in on Saturday with some high winds, which could potentially be damaging for our area. A high of 61 degrees and a low of 35. And for Sunday, those showers should hopefully die off, bringing us mostly sunny skies with a high of 56 and a low of 38. Now, for the beginning of next week, partly cloudy skies on Monday with a high of 61 and 50 degrees is our high on Tuesday with some morning rain potentially changing over into snow as those temperatures drop below zero. And 53 on Wednesday with partly cloudy skies. Looks like everything is starting to warm up little by little as we finally get into spring. Coming up, we're going to go ahead, and that is all actually for your 7-day forecast. We will be back with you shortly, and stay tuned at kentwire.com for more news and weather updates.
Thanks, Aaron. TikTok CEO will testify before the House Energy and Commerce Committee tomorrow. CEO Shou Chew is expected to tell lawmakers the app's parent company, ByteDance, is, quote, not an agent of China, end quote, and avoid a government ban on TikTok. However, Florida A&M already decided to ban the app from its campus, while Florida State University is still undecided. We reached out to Kent State on if they are discussing any policies related to TikTok, and the spokesperson Emily Vinson declined to comment.
Google is opening their own AI chatbot tool that directly competes with ChatGPT. The new tool is called Bard, and users could join a wait list to access it starting yesterday. Google says the chatbot can help people do things like outline and write essay drafts, plan a friend's baby shower, and even get ideas on what to make for lunch based on what's in your fridge. A company representative says the tool will be separate from the regular Google search.
Now moving into money news, the Federal Reserve raised interest rates today by 25 basis points, continuing with their campaign against high inflation. This comes just days after the fallout from 2 U.S. bank failures. Several expected the hike to be low as things stabilize in the financial markets. However, policymakers voted unanimously to raise their benchmark interest rate to just under 5%. This increase will make it more expensive for people seeking car loans or carrying a balance on their credit cards.
Now moving into a bit of a weird one, the Supreme Court dug into trademark law today over a case involving a poop-themed squeaky toy that was made to look like a Jack Daniels bottle. The justices erupted into laughter here and there as they made their arguments regarding the case. The case caused the justices to explore how much protection parodists should receive when imitating trademarks. Some judges said there is a risk of damaged reputation for Jack Daniels as a brand.
Now into health news, the CDC says 2 more deaths have been linked to a rare bacteria found in recalled eye drops, bringing the total number of deaths to 3, and at least 68 patients in 16 states have been infected. Global Pharma Healthcare's artificial tears lubricant eye drops were first recalled in February, and the agency has been warning people to not use them. The rare strain of drug-resistant bacteria found in the drops had never before been reported in the U.S.
A powerful earthquake struck in northeast Afghanistan yesterday, killing 13 people. Authorities warned earlier today that the death toll could become much higher as the search for survivors continues. The 6.5 magnitude earthquake caused many residents to flee their homes across northern Afghanistan and Pakistan. Over 100 people suffered from injuries on top of those who were killed.
And at least 8 people dead and 34 were injured in a Russian drone strike in the Kyiv region after a Russian attack today in an apartment building in Zaporizhia. Russian forces fired at least 6 missiles, causing significant damage to civilian infrastructure. In a statement released by Ukraine authorities, 1 person was rescued and 4 people are likely to be under the rubble. Police and emergency services evacuated more than 200 people after the strike. The building blocks of life were found on an asteroid near Earth. More details ahead.
Baseball season is upon us. How's the Diamond looking for Kent State?
And now, your TV2 Sports Report.
What's up, Portage County? I'm Della Fowler, and it's almost time for spring break here at Kent State. So here's to hoping we will end up somewhere on a beach. But anyway, we're at Kent State now. Let's splash into sports. Here we go first. And what's spring without a little baseball? The Kent State baseball team has been hotter than the sun on a 13-game winning streak this week. They have a date with Pitt, followed by a trip to visit Central Michigan starting today. They will have their starter, who they like to call the Shohei of the group. He won MAC Baseball Player of the Week. His name's Aiden Longwell, starting on the mound and in the batter's box. He's been stellar on both sides of the ball for the Flashes, along with leading the NCAA in RBIs. As always, if you want to know all the latest things Kent State sports, be sure to check out our socials at TV2KSU Sports for game updates, live tweets, and more. And we will move to another diamond. The Kent State softball team suffered a heartbreaker of a loss to Ohio State yesterday on the road 4-3. The Flashes led 1-0 for most of the game off of an incredible pitching by starter Macy Arlen. And the RBI double by Bryn Lieber in the 5th put Ohio State trailing with a run of their own coming back in the bottom of the 6th. However, the Flashes weren't done. They were able to get some last-minute magic going with a 2-run RBI single from Abreu Despines. And however, the bases ended up loaded for the Buckeyes, and a sac fly and a single sometimes is all you need at home. So the Flashes are going to shift their focus now to the school down the road to try and take on a win against their rivalry. And we will continue to baseball as we count down to the start of the MLB season. We will watch our favorites compete for their chosen countries, USA and Japan, in the World Baseball Classic Championship. Roll it. Trey Turner up to bat, lets the good times roll deep to left field. This ball is gone. Trey giving USA the early lead. Now Urakami up to bat with his funky stance, but maybe that's the key to a moonshot like this one. To the upper deck. In the blink of an eye, we are now tied. And you can talk homers all you want, but sometimes all you need is a little single. Nootbaar forces this play at first and gives Japan the lead. All you got to do is run it out. And chugga, 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 whoop, whoop! The Okamoto train has left the station. Destination center field. He's going to give Japan a 3-1 lead. But sometimes all you need is a Schwarbomb, and wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. And USA had the patience to wait for this, and we totally saw it here. He goes. This one nearly in the same spot as Urakami. He makes it look easy, doesn't he? Always. But poetic justice had to happen, and this battle of angels is going to end this game for us. Shohei takes it home, striking out his teammate Mike Trout with a 3-2 victory. Japan takes the win. For TV2 News, I'm Della Fowler, and I'll catch you on the court, Portage County.
Thanks, Della. The Muslim religious month of Ramadan begins this evening. More on the Muslim cultural importance of the holy month ahead. Welcome back. This evening, Muslims around the world will begin the religious holy month of Ramadan. The month is meant for people to fast, focused on prayer, and reflect on themselves. Ramadan is marked on the Islamic lunar calendar as the time when the Quran was first revealed to Muhammad. Other events during the month include acts of kindness and special prayer sessions.
Japan's space agency has detected organic molecules in an asteroid near Earth. Researchers collected samples from 2 locations on the carbon-rich diamond-shaped asteroid called Ryugu and found uracil, one of the building blocks of RNA, and vitamin B3 or niacin. These findings are in line with the theory that the building blocks of life originated in space and were delivered to Earth billions of years ago by meteorites.
You know, every time I hear stuff about organic things being found in space and stuff like that, my mind immediately obviously goes to aliens. But do you believe in aliens?
Okay, I don't know. Like, there are a lot of videos around YouTube and stuff like that talking about aliens, which is really interesting. Like,
you always see the UFO sightings, all that kind of stuff.
Like, is there anything else outside of the world that we know?
I mean, I feel like there's too much out there for there not to be. Think about, the galaxy. It's so vast.
It
At
really
least according
is.
to scientific theory. I don't know. But I've always found it interesting. You can dive into a rabbit hole of that for a long time.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
that is all the time we have for tonight. Thank you for joining us.
For updates on all these stories and more, visit our website at kenwired.com and follow us on all of our social media at kenwired. I'm Nuried Hurtado.
And I'm Chris Abreu. Have a great night, Portage County.
This is Portage County's TV2, broadcasting from the campus of Kent State University. Streaming online at kentwired.com.